Good morning. We got a quarterback.
We do. We have
the
two.
Quarterback.
We have two. How are you feeling, Toast?
All right, so first thing, let me just come right out with it. All right. Obviously, I was pretty hard with a grade of an F on the quarterback results thus far in the portal. I spoke with the dean last night. Going to get that grade changed. We're going to bump that up to an A+ now, because not only did you get the number one quarterback in the portal, but then you also got that number two guy with Reese, which looks a lot better now as a number two guy coming in to compete along with Cam Ward than when it was just him. So then you add in Jakari if he stays. You add in Emery. You got Judd. We got a full quarterback room now, and Reese has 2 years left. Like, it's perfectly stacked up. Next year, you have a three-way battle with guys that have been in the program for the starting job. It's set up perfectly now.
So you talked to the dean. You got that. You got that.
Yeah, we bumped it up to an A+. Bumped up to an A+.
Man, how much money did that cost? That seems like that was transactional.
Slightly less than it cost Alabama to hire Kalen DeBauer.
You know what? I just love the fact that right before that move announced, and that came out of left field. That legitimately came out of left field. There was reports, even though he declared for the NFL, Cam Ward never officially signed with an agent, so he still had the opportunity to come back. Now, he did an interview and said that, he got like a second round, third round grade. That's believing in yourself. We can go with that. And, decided to improve that to a first round grade is a discussion. I want to have that later. And then next, he shocks all the Miami Hurricanes and says he's going to be a Miami Hurricane, to which off the backs of that clip online saying, it's a D, it's an F. I'm like, these guys are idiots. We're idiots. But we're happy idiots this morning.
I never gave a grade.
No,
I didn't. I was smart. Are you?
Well, but you were very quick to agree with my F, though.
Was I? I
yes.
don't remember.
I don't
recall.
He said, no, it's true. It's true. We did get a P5 quarterback. He's
well, they
right.
didn't. They didn't. And first and foremost, are you going to shave?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because as long as you keep like a little space right here, apparently it just like bends all the rules of physics and time in the fire service. And I came back from a fire conference and I saw a lot of these things, and we're good.
So you've got like what do they call that? The chap face?
We got hair in my face.
Down.
That's where we're going to there.
Interesting.
Just stay on target.
I'm just curious. It's the first time I've seen facial hair on you.
Stay on target, Red 6.
In 20 and what is it?
About 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Stay on target, Red 6.
Okay. Well. Yeah, look, optically it's brilliant. Everybody wanted Cam Ward. Let's be real, right? Optically, everybody wants Cam Ward. Everybody wanted to be the guy or the team who got Cam Ward. He's electric. There's no doubt about it. And yes, we've now stacked the room. You've officially stacked the room. And I think that the layering of it is really, really important and looks to be really, really good. I'll be the poo-pooer on here today. We're going to talk about a lot of good stuff. I've got some stuff that...
What, that's not so good about Cam Ward?
Sure.
Oh, why would you put bad stuff out about Cam Ward?
Well, I'm not putting bad stuff out. I'm saying, like, I told you guys, and I'm not backing off from this. Yeah. I'm not backing off from this. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not.
So you didn't tweet out the Kool-Aid GIF from the account last night?
Of course I did.
Look, that's got to be scoop.
Of course I did. Of course it's an account with more than one person. So the account can do what it likes.
Okay.
I'm not I don't have my bucket. I don't have my ladle. I'm not pouring it into the big calendar of whatever. I'm not going to all of a sudden, because this happened, just turn my view around and say, oh my God, we're going to the playoffs. I'd like for that to happen. We'll see. I mean, Rowe broke down the film. Wonderful, as always. And I hope it's awesome. I hope we do great. I do.
I totally get what you're saying. Listen, this is what he's best at, right? The offseason season tickets are flying off the shelf for now. I bought 10 yesterday. I'm going to resell them. Going to make a ton. Going to send the profit to Rudy as NIL money for Cam Ward. Help pay for that off. All right. But you're right, man. Listen, this is what he's great at. I'm not going to worry about the in-season game management stuff because there'll be plenty of time to worry about that once September rolls around. But I will say this. Listen, this was good for him. This was big for him because not only did it basically save the fan base and any sort of optimism going into next year with the expanded playoff, but you can say he also got possibly a monkey off his back because he just landed a quarterback. He just recruited a quarterback, the top guy out there, and he landed him. And everyone has said, you can't recruit quarterbacks. Well, he got this one. So that's certainly that's a notch in his favor, man. You can say what you want, but he just landed this one. He landed the biggest fish that was out there quarterback wise. And I think you got to take your hat off to him for that.
I mean, I think he did take the monkey off his back, but he put the proverbial gorilla right back on it because
the target's even bigger now. Yeah, like dude, this has to be a 10-win season now. Like there's no like this has to be 9 to 10 wins. There's no going below that number now.
Yes, because Cam Ward gives you that legitimacy, right? He was the number one portal quarterback. You saw the talking heads as soon as they made that announcement. I believe Cam Ward was such a splash acquisition that the University of Miami Hurricanes are going to be preseason ranked again. Deserve it? No, they don't deserve it. But I believe he was that much of a splash acquisition that that's what it's going to do for the Miami Hurricanes coming into the 2024 season. So now the target is bigger, right? The expectations are more grandiose. It's huge. So what does the University of Miami need to do? And this is going to be the question I'm going to ask all year, because if you want to truly, truly change the trajectory of this program, you need a win. We all know that. That's established. But you need to do it on the backs of Cam Ward. You need to shed, finally, like reptilian skin. It needs to be gone. A new thing needs to emerge. You have to do it off the backs of a great quarterback and great quarterback play so that in perpetuity, Scoop, you want quarterbacks to come down here. If you could get Cam Ward to regain flash and even take that further, and he is a first-round pick, there will be no other pick for the University of Miami draft pick. If Cam Ward's an NFL first-rounder, nothing would sound the trumpets into future glory more than that. I promise. And you have to build your offense so you accentuate that. You can't have Cam Ward come in here and pull a Tyler Van Dyke. You just can't. Because then that's why I called it a gorilla, because now your quarterback killer mantra, ooh, that's loud. That's very loud. You took the number one portal quarterback and you dropped his draft status, and he almost puts an unjust kind of the target on your back because he's looking to go from, in his words, second or third round to the first round. So you have to get him into the first round.
He signed here believing that to be the case and has put that onus on you. He's put the onus of, I'm okay. I'll believe what you're telling me and I'll ride with it. And the onus is now on the coaching staff to make sure that he doesn't slide, so to speak, and go into a day 3 pick. So, yeah, you're right. The bullseye, the target, the optics, everything is more tense. It's ratcheted up for sure.
Well, and I'll say
it's going to be interesting.
It, I agree with both of you guys. And I would also say, think this speeds things up a little bit for Mario. If Mario comes out and has a disappointing season in year 3 with this quarterback and everything, man, that could cause a lot of folks to be like, we made the wrong choice. We already knew this was going to be a big year for him and his coaching staff, but you're right. Like, he just made it even bigger. because now there's no excuse, man. Like, you look at the roster, you look at the guys he's brought in. He got his quarterback. Like, I mean, listen, with all due respect to the dude that we've all been very fond of, this now in Madison, in my opinion, this is an upgrade. This is the best quarterback we've had in the roster since De'Ara King showed up. So, yeah. And listen, to Jakari, just look at what's happened in the last 4 years, bro. We've had significant injuries in the quarterback room every single year, and there's absolutely a decent chance that there's going to be a door open if you stay in here for next year. Or like, I mean, don't just say, oh, there's two guys in front of me, or I got a whatever. We've had injuries the last 4 years. You never have enough quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, I think for him, it's if he stays, and I hope he does, because
I hope he does too.
5 days ago, I said I'm riding with Jakari. I don't care who you bring in here. And to be quite honest with you, I don't even necessarily know if I'm backing off that statement. So I fully support him and his skill set, and I believe he can be highly successful here. So you got to stay. You've got to compete. You have to stay. If you do stay, you've got to compete for that backup role. That backup role would be one rung higher than you were last year. Right? So you've gone from third teamer now to backup, and you're one rolled ankle. You're a one finger to the helmet. Mm-hmm. You're one anything away from being back in there and being the guy. So, yeah, I'm excited. Of course, I'm excited. Look, optically, it's huge, and it will absolutely provide options in the portal at wide receiver that you didn't have yesterday morning. And that is a much, much needed scenario. You need to have the opportunity to get the top guys in the portal at the wide receiver position for the outside, right? I mean, you probably saw the news yesterday. Jacoby George arrested for stupid shit.
Yep. Stupid shit.
It's just continued stupid shit. That's the reality, right? So is he going to be on the team? I don't know. So yeah, wide receiver, really important. And that signing is, I would imagine, it had to have changed things for them. Unless they already had things in the works with that. But yeah, it was out of left field. It's great. It's awesome. He's electric. You're right. He's De'Ara King. I think he's a much better quarterback than De'Ara King.
No, yeah, 100%. Yes.
He's a true thrower of the football.
Yes.
So it'll be fun, but man, there's no going back. There's no excuse.
All the chips are on the table now, dude.
You're right. It's sped everything up. So
yeah,
it's sped it up to where, do we think we can get further than we thought, earlier than we thought? And if we don't, the flip side of that is absolutely further down the rabbit hole that we want it to be, sooner than we want it to be it.
I just want to talk about his skill set, because you mentioned Jakari. You mentioned the skill set, the athleticism. That's what Cam Ward is, but to Toast's benefit and happiness, it's Jakari with a shit ton of experience. He's played at the P5 level. He's played in the Apple Cup. He's played against Oregon. And speaking of that Oregon game, that was the first stop on the Student of the Game Meet Cam Ward tour, because I wanted to see what he would do against a top flight defense. And I walked away incredibly impressed with his skill set. Just the things that I value, the things that we really didn't necessarily see last year. And we're huge Tyler Van Dyke fans. We always were. And he had that big arm. But there was things about Cam Ward's game that I didn't see from the film watching Miami last year. And he has just got this really remarkable improv skill set where he can just throw things from the side. He can just go ahead and manipulate the pocket. He can roll out. And the longer he kind of elongates that pocket, the more dangerous he becomes. And I just kept watching with this appreciation, because knowing the offense the way we do and watching all last year, I felt like when we bogged down, why was it? It was because too much zone, too many times where we were throwing three people into 7 and 8 man coverages. And then when it wasn't there, we were either forcing it and throwing interceptions or getting bogged down. And next thing you know, we just couldn't improv things out of nothing because I wanted that rogue guy, right? And maybe that was the wrong choice of words. I didn't want the guy to go willy-nilly and say, listen, I'm not running your play. F it, I'm out. But I did want somebody when the play is not there, when it's not either the defense just trumped you or it was just a poor play call. I just wanted to see somebody be able to create something out of nothing. And Cam Ward, that's like his specialty to me.
He's a shortstop, baby.
He is a shortstop. You saw those clips. He has the ability to just make some plays that, he does it effortlessly. That's part of his skill set. That's part of his bag. And I just was like, yeah, you're right. I like the comp that you said, De'Aaron King, because similar to De'Aaron King coming in and you're like, this is our Ferrari with feet. Like Cam Ward's coming in, he's our magician. This is the guy this is what we need here. He needs to go ahead and just be the feature. He needs to be able to pull those highlight package plays and just put them on film repeatedly so he can get to where he wants to get to, and hopefully we get him there. But in terms of arm, he's got it. When he throws some of his wide side outs, it's one of those things where it's like that major league pitcher who tops out at like 97, he doesn't even look like he's doing it. He doesn't look like it's not, I've seen, the Jeff Georges of the world, and Tyler had a cannon. But like Cam Ward now, he just, and the ball's on top of the wide receiver. In a great spot for him to catch the ball. Okay? Accuracy, deep field touch, I think he's got it. We talked about his improv skill, which is important. He's got adaptability. Great job by the Miami Hurricanes figuring out what they needed. And then targeting number one guy, because everybody felt that they needed him. They target him. He's got the skill set. And now I find it like you could see what they felt they wanted in an offense too. When you brought in Poff, what does Poff have? What does Jakari now have? And they convinced that young man to stay for now. You see something now that we didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
All three of those guys have a certain skill set we didn't have before.
They can all move.
They can all move. They can all factor in the run game. They could chunk you up good now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll be honest, bro. The big question now, and I think Scoop talked about it last week, is, you brought in the quarterback. This is a huge year. Mario now has to take a step back and let his OC and his quarterback hang out in the lab all off season and create and just keep his fingers off of it and let them do what they're supposed to do.
You don't bring in Cam Ward to run a lead on a 13 set on 4th and 3. That's not what you brought the kid in.
And he can't micromanage this, dude. He can't be a micro. He's got to have confidence that his OC that he hired and brought back can get this done and let him do it.
And faith in a quarterback. Because at the same time, where admittedly so, Tyler said he lost a little bit of confidence, and then instead of trying to maybe regain that confidence, it was just like, now let's just shell up. Let's just close off the offense. You're going to have ebbs and flows of a season, but you need to ride with Cam. He's got to be the focal point. Even if your run game's nasty, he's still got to be the focal point.
When Dawson was hired, he had a couple interviews. They did his interviews with the school, and they sit down in the film room and they go through and they click and they're watching everything on the big whiteboard. And he said what's very important for him in his offense, and I would think that this would be for every OC, but he was really emphatic about it, was the ability for his quarterback, and this is why I said him looking at Jakari probably loves Jakari, probably would love to have Jakari run his offense, which is he really needs a guy with adaptability. He really needs a guy that can create in situations that break down. He's like, I'm going to call a lot of bad plays. And he was honest about it. He's like, and I need guys to get me out of it. So that isn't, he's not deaf to that, right? He understands that that's what he needs as an OC, and understands that that's how his offense clicks more so than not. Again, we'll look at Clayton Tune. It's Clayton Tune. And we'll go back to the fact that he had 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, but also very, very mobile, right? He was very much a part of that running game. So, yeah, I think that, and now he's licking his chops. Dawson's got to be licking his chops. He's got 3 guys who could all potentially run the system, and 3 guys with similar skill sets that if one gets hurt or 2 get hurt, he doesn't have to change
game
anything,
plan,
right? It's the same offense. They can all run it. So that for him has got to be much more compelling in, okay, we can make this work, right? I mean, he's got to be thrilled with with Cam. I'd imagine. Oh, Rowan Dark.
Dark 30.
Yeah.
The Washington, I will say this, watching the Oregon game, the offensive coordinator, at least in that game, and I've seen some really good stretches from Shannon Dawson as well, too. I felt like the Boston College game plan and the Texas A&M game plan, one predominantly more against man, one was more against a zone-heavy team, at least that day. I felt those were his better ones. But I'll tell you, what they were asking Cam Ward to do in that Oregon game was pretty much better than we were seeing for the majority of the year. So, yes, he's got options, but I'm still emphatically on this side that he also needs to improve. He needs to kind of diversify his portfolio, because just plugging Cam Ward into the plays you ran, and it's going to adapt, it's going to morph, because that's what's going to happen. So naturally, I'm going to say that. But if you just expected him to win against Clemson with the game plan for Emory, and that's not fair because Emory was freshman making his first start. I get that. But what I'm saying is if you default to that kind of tendency, it's not going to work for you. You take the Lamborghini. You take the Lamborghini and park it. You take the Lamborghini and go play bumper cars with it. You do something that you're not supposed to do. So he needs to improve, because I was seeing switch releases from Washington State. I was seeing the trips. They were close with Oregon. Oregon just had too many horses in the third quarter, and then in the third quarter they kind of got a little bit more physical, I felt, in the secondary, and that's what really, and their offensive line, Washington State, God bless you. But Cam's going to have a lot more time and afforded, opportunity with the offensive line we're going to give him, because the Washington State right tackle, bro, you got cooked, man. Emerald, and that's would be part of what
I'm curious about, because there's not a ton of film of his sitting back there with an extended amount of time, being able to survey the field, find where he wants to go, and let it rip. Right, most of his stuff and all of his highlight stuff, really, for the most part, is him escaping the pocket because he had to, and being productive on the move. So he was sacked 38 times last year. 38 times. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a lot. You've got that's 3 a game, at least. Maybe some a little less, maybe some a little more, but on average, about 3 a game. So, you're right. Let's see him behind this line. He also, he only had 7 picks last year. Very nice. 3,700 yards. Look, it's exciting. The biggest thing he'll have to clean up, and I would imagine this is an issue, I would think, with this staff. He's fumbled the ball 48 times in his career, which is more than once a game. So that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of fumbles.
That's a lot of fumbles.
And I saw it on that film just in the Oregon game. It's just as soon as he has that mechanism triggers within himself to go ahead and run in the pocket or run outside the pocket, the ball gets loose. Running backs, when you see running back run, they're going to get high and tight with the ball, and then that's it. With him, the ball's dropping real easy to go ahead and swipe at that ball. And when you have that reputation, guess what? More teams are going to swipe at the ball. So he needs to play that proverbial Dora, swipe or no swiping, because you got to work with the running backs coach or something, because, yes, you want to get on that precipice where we're pushing Miami above and beyond. You're going to race everything with ball security issues, because go back last year, everything was good until it wasn't. And when wasn't it? When our quarterback started to have ball security issues, turnover prone, right? Once that happened, it went south. So he's got to clean that up for sure, Scoop. And I'll echo that. And I've watched it already, and I saw it even on a highlight package kind of thing. I still had to bring that out. I was like, look, he's got some ball security issues. You're seeing it right now. Even though he didn't lose the ball, I can see why he loses the ball. But it's something he needs to be in tune with, and maybe somebody else can go ahead with their style of coaching, really rein that in. Two Dolphins are bounced. They lost last night, so at least we got good news as Miami fans, because we got Cam Ward to come in there. But
Mario knew what was going to happen in Kansas City. He dropped that an hour before kickoff just to save the city that he loves, and we appreciate that for him. Absolutely.
But just to real quickly finish up, Tua knew he was injury prone. He worked on it, right? He did some things. He made it through the season. It still got him home after the first round of the playoffs, but he worked on it. He improved on that. I think Cam can do the same thing if he really dedicates himself to it.
All right, boys. Anything else you want to get in? But it's a good little Cam Ward special.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back this week with a normal episode number 105, I believe.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into it. Maybe we'll have some wide receiver moves by then, like Isaiah Bond is out there. We'll see. And obviously, he was a brief Miami commit before he flipped to Alabama. So we'll see what happens, boys. But we got more football on today. And we got 2 games tomorrow, too. They moved that Buffalo game.
Yeah, first time ever, I think.
Yeah.
See that?
19.
I mean, that would have been fun.
Back-to-back playoff games on a Monday.
Right.
Yeah, and if we do get Isaiah Bond, I don't know where we stand on that. We got to carry that Alabama tradition so that every time he catches the ball, you just hear da-na, da-na, da-na. I mean, you got to do it. It's great marketing. It's great
All right,
marketing.
boys. We'll be back this week as always. Go Canes!
Yo, Bange.